I don't know what's up. We might be live.
We are live, I think.
Brilliant. I don't know why that did that, and I can't seem to see the comments coming up anywhere. So that's a bit weird today. I don't know why that is. But anyway, welcome. Everybody will be able to see this on replay, and hopefully they'll be watching live today. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me on Mark Bajerski podcast. Yeah, it's a beautiful day, and we've got a beautiful soul today. Lynn Hardy, welcome.
Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you for inviting me. And
Look
hello,
what I got.
You got a copy?
I got a copy.
Wow, how cool is that? I would have sent you a copy. Should it?
No. I mean, whenever something says menopause, I need to read it.
Well, I was going to say, I'm here to talk about your favorite topic in the whole world, Mark. I mean, this one's for you.
Well, and I like your nice necklace.
Isn't that a nice necklace?
Nice necklace.
I wonder where one could get one of those.
Yeah, beautiful. Anyway, listen, it's a beautiful day to chat with you. It's lovely to have you back on. Last time you were on here was it about a year ago, something like that?
No, it was more like 3-4 years ago.
It's ridiculous. Let's slap that hand. That's so naughty. You should have been back on ages ago. Sorry about that, but you're here now, and it's a wonderful day. Lynn, Dr. Lynn, what's ND stand for? Is that
naturopathic doctor?
Thought so, yeah, and which you are, yeah. So it's a beautiful day. We're not really going to fully focus on what's in the book, but we're going to talk and generalize with regards to this thing that men and women have. Women and men have. They do. Men definitely have it too. I'm sure they do. Not as bad, right? But they do.
It's called andropause, and the reason it's different than it's easier for men is because it's not so drastic. It doesn't happen as suddenly. Your hormones gradually start to drop, but for women, it's like a really fast shift and things change very quickly. So for men, it's much easier, but it's also very interesting that menopause, like most things in the world that are causing us trouble, start with the word men.
I was going to say, when I looked at it, I'm like, why does it say men? Or I think you should pause. Pause the men. Yeah. But I heard that in the 17th and 18th century, it came out through France. Apparently, they say it started in it was a French physician that came up with the word menopause, which I believe menopause is that stop
your menstruation, the stopping of your menstruation.
Yeah,
and it actually officially it happens 1 year after your final period. So your period needs to stop for 1 year, and that's when you're officially considered in menopause.
Okay, let me just ask you something. Some women don't seem to have cycles. Why is that?
Well, there are many reasons for that. Some people are taking hormones, or they're taking hormonal birth control so that they don't have cycles and they don't take a break in between. Some women who are suffering from anorexia, for example, or they're overtraining, will stop having menstruations, because if your body goes into starvation mode, for example, then the first thing that shuts down is your reproductive system, because you're not able to reproduce. So those are some of the main things. Stress can also cause you to cease your menstruations. That can definitely interfere with that, or have irregular menstrual cycles. So there are a lot of different factors that can be at play.
Stress causes physical issues. Is that?
I know, crazy. If only someone would have told us this years ago, right?
Interesting though, eh? When you go onto Google and you ask about menopause, it normally gives you, eat healthy, eat lots of fruit and vegetables. It talks about, try not to gain too much weight, and like don't drink alcohol, don't take drugs, sugars and stuff like that. What really is going on? What's the natural thought about all of this rather than Google?
Yeah, it's a very interesting topic, and there's so much misinformation out there. And the first thing that I want to start with is that women have been gaslit when it comes to menopause for so many years. Like, for example, did you know, Mark, that hysterectomy comes from the word hysteria? So women were considered hysterical due to their hormones and then given full hysterectomies to calm them down. So this is, the medical establishment has been screwing us for since it's been established.
That's horrible. So you're actually
It's
saying that
insane.
like, I even remember this procedure when I was younger. I used to hear it all the time, and it used to, as a kid, it used to make me feel so bad. I used to feel like, it just felt demonic, and I didn't
Mhm.
even know anything. I just, when somebody mentioned it, it's like, is that a thing? Do
Yeah.
people actually take everything out?
They
Because
do. And there are, of course, there are some medical situations when it is absolutely necessary, but often it is not. It's not a medical emergency. It's not necessary. There are other solutions, but people are not even given a chance. And even with, like, for example, like if we talk about menopause, I know you lost your mom very young, Mark, so perhaps she didn't even go through menopause. But just think back of like when you were a child. Did you ever hear about menopause? Did women around you ever talk about this, like what we go through?
no,
Like
no,
it was
never,
never, right? It
never,
was it was
never.
like almost forbidden. It was like this dirty thing. Like, like you don't talk about your periods, you don't talk about menopause, you don't talk about any of these things because it's just not spoken of, right?
That's
And
true.
so a lot of women, suffered in silence. And then they would reach out to their doctors, and the doctors would say, oh, it's all in your head. Oh, you're just crazy. You just need some antidepressants. Or you have anxiety. Here's this. Here's some sleeping pills. Or you're gaining weight. Now, here's some Ozempic or whatever, right? Whatever the weight loss solution was at the moment. And nobody actually looked at what was happening to us and why. And this is so crazy, and you see so many women who have been suffering silently, and finally we are speaking out. Finally this is our time to shine and to speak up and to let the world know that, hey, we are here and this needs our attention, and people are starting to pay attention finally. So this is so good to see. I mean, obviously there are many different causes for menopause, but first I want to really focus on the fact that how Western cultures view menopause and aging women, and how other cultures. Because in other cultures, the wise woman, the older woman, like once she stops her periods and she steps into her power, and she is, looked at for her wisdom, she's admired. People turn to her for advice. She is the matriarch of the tribe where they live. So, like in some Asian cultures, this is like a time for celebration, and they also celebrate like the menstruation of the girls when they start. And then in Western culture, this is viewed so differently. Like women become discarded. You become invisible. You're just a stupid old woman. Nobody wants to hear your point of view. Meanwhile, we have all this wisdom that we brought with us through decades and decades of life. And instead of people embracing that or wanting to hear that, like even sometimes your own children don't want to hear what you have to say because you're just a stupid old woman. And this is so sad, and it's so different in different cultures.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. I saw it in ballet. The way that the younger generation treats the elder generation is so beautiful. And then you come to the UK and you watch how, unfortunately, how they treat the elderly. It's just really heartbreaking. Throw them in a old folks' home, steal a handbag. It's easier to break into the house because they can't hear you. It's like, it really is a completely different thought process, I think, within different cultures. But really, in ballet, the head of the, like, you never see an elderly man in a place where he's going to eat. All the younger guys buy the food for them. It's incredible how
Wow.
they see that. They never see an older man eating and then have to pay, and even the barman will pay. Somebody will pay for his meal, and it's a different mentality completely than Western society, and that it's obvious. It's not just that, but I think mainly older people here in the UK. I'm saying in the UK, not in Spain. In Spain, it's a little bit better, but in the
Mhm.
UK, are really deemed to be a headache, a pain in the ass, and oh my God, God forbid they get older and I have to look after them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that really is all of that is the kind of symptom of everything else, really. So whatever they have to say, whatever they're going through, is of that level of thinking, right? I think.
Absolutely. And isn't it amazing that in some cultures, they don't really experience menopause at all, or they don't experience it as a negative thing. And in some cultures, like for example, in Japan, they don't really have symptoms. So
Right.
could this also be related to the fact of how you are viewed by society and your family
It's
as an
exactly
aging
it.
woman,
Totally.
compared to the Western world where you are, you're meant to be sexy and vibrant and all of these things, like, look how they're portraying women all the time. And once you don't have that sex appeal, then you have no value. And when you lose that value, then how does your body respond to that when you see that the world is looking at you in a different light?
Yeah,
So
totally.
I'm
I
not saying
think,
this is the only reason. Obviously, there are many different reasons
yeah.
why some people experience severe menopausal symptoms and others experience none. For example, my mother, she had no menopausal symptoms at all, zero. So I never heard about menopause, and it's not because she was suffering in silence. She actually didn't suffer. So, what is she doing differently compared to other women, or what's her toxic exposure, or how much time does she spend in nature compared to others and in sunlight? What's her diet like compared to everyone else? So, all of these factors come into play and they really make a big difference.
Mhm. Interesting. It's so interesting. Me being a healer, I used to work with clients, ladies who used to come at the age where they believed that they were going through something. Because when it happens, it's a shock to
Yeah.
a lot of women. People don't understand. It's like because it's like a thunderbolt and lightning strike. All of a sudden, it just hits them. And I saw that. I went through this, and some women actually did think they were going crazy. Some of my clients actually thought they were going like doolally, and I found that giving healing helped, and they came, and I think healing is something that really did help my clients. But it's an interesting thing when you see it happening in front of you. So I didn't see it with my mum. I didn't see, I haven't seen it with anybody because I've not been with anybody at that age that's now going through it. So,
Yeah.
but I imagine it can be quite difficult for everybody else. So, what would you suggest? I think would be a nice question to ask, Lynn. What would you suggest a husband whose wife is going through that?
Well, I think the easiest thing you can do is, when a woman is going crazy, you just throw her some chocolate and just slowly back out of the room.
With the lion whip and the chair. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a really hard transition for the husbands as well, Mark. And a lot of marriages break up at this
Wow,
age, and
wow.
it happens because of this. Because it's like you'll have to look at your wife as you're looking at your children as they're going through puberty. Now, you remember your kids when they were going through puberty, right? And because the hormones were all over the place, you couldn't deal with them. You couldn't tell them anything. And this is like our second puberty.
Right.
So we are like, sometimes like 2-year-old toddlers, and we're throwing things and we're yelling. So it's again, it's a transition that is beyond our control, and our hormones are changing so quickly that sometimes we don't know why we're angry, we don't know why we have anxiety, we don't know why we're withdrawing. And I think it's really hard because sometimes men don't understand what of course men don't understand what we're going through, and they don't really know how to relate to us in this transition. And women just get fed up and they walk out of the relationship. And I see this all the time.
Because the men don't
The
take
men don't understand. They don't
what
understand. And you
what
just
men
get
don't
annoyed with
understand.
everyone. You don't want to be
Okay,
around anyone. Everyone annoys you.
so percentage wise, if you could put it on a board, women walk out of a relationship or men walk out of the relationship.
It's women. Now it's women. And especially over 50, it's something like 80% women that are walking away from the relationship.
And is that because they want to walk out of the relationship because they've gone crazy, so to speak, which they haven't? They're just going through whatever
Yeah.
the transition is, or is it because the husband doesn't understand?
Well, there are a couple of things. So, for example, when you're younger and estrogen's high, progesterone's high, so all these hormones are basically making you very nurturing because you're raising a family. So all your energy, all your hormones are geared towards nurturing, raising your family, raising your children, nurturing your husband. And when these hormones change, something changes. And it's no longer about nurturing, taking care of everyone else. You all of a sudden, you like step into your power and
Yeah.
you're ready to take on the world. And you're ready to take on, take care of yourself and look after yourself for the first time in your life. And it's not that everyone else comes first. I see a lot of women doing this. And this is incredible. And a lot of women are leaving abusive relationships or relationships that haven't worked for a long time. And there's, nothing left there. They were just holding on to something. And all of a sudden you get beyond this age and you just think like, I have nothing left to lose, like maybe my best years are behind me and now I want to go and live my life. And it gives you like this new sense of power. So I see that happening, which is, it's not always a bad thing. It can be a bad thing.
Whoa, for a lot of men, they're going, whoa, years ago. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Sorry,
It's my husband's probably upstairs packing my suitcase right now.
He's already got one packed
Oh my
5 years
God,
ago. Don't need to pack, love. I've already got one ready.
Thanks for the past 30 years, but see ya.
So it's interesting because when you look at the word menopause and you look at meno, if you put S at the end of menos, menos means power, strength, rage. So like, wow, it's like quite interesting when you look at words as well, how meaningful they are.
And there's this misconception really that you got to do everything when you're young. You can't do anything as you're older. And I'm here as an example, like, I turned 55 this year. And the things that I have done and accomplished this year, like I've done more this year than ever in my life, which is insane to me. And I don't know how these opportunities keep coming to me. And like, I started the year with studying quantum biology, which like opened this whole new door, whole new world for me, which is amazing. I got certified. It was a really hard course, but I loved every minute of it. This is through the Institute of Quantum Biology, Applied Quantum Biology. Amazing. I'd recommend it to anyone if you want to change your life. And, that took up a lot of my time. At the same time, of course, I'm building my social media empire, the Aging Games, and I'm doing my podcast. I probably recorded about 70 episodes of my podcast this year because I'm working ahead. Brilliant. And then I got this opportunity to actually have a role in a film, which, I haven't done any acting in like 35 years. I was like in a crazy abusive relationship back then. And my ex was holding me back and wouldn't let me do what I really wanted to do. And then after that, I just never thought about it. I put it on the back burner. And then this opportunity came for this small role in Gibraltar. And I jumped at it. And it was amazing. And I felt, oh my God, I'm like, I feel alive. This is so cool. And then, of course, my publisher is pushing me because, I have to finish my menopause book. So I'm trying to write my book. I'm finishing my quantum biology course and I'm acting. And then came another role, which your beautiful Lela was with me in Magdalena's Land. And this was a much larger role. And I ended up co-producing the film. And we shot this beautiful film in Gausin, which is not that far from you guys, in Spain. And it was like, wow, I just love this experience so much. And then the guys that I did the other movie with here in Gibraltar, they said, Lynn, why don't you just make your own film? And I'm like, hey, what a good idea. Let's do my own film.
As you do.
As you do, So it's like within 4 months, ended up doing 3 films. And one of them, my own film, which I wrote, produced and played the lead role in. And it's like, wow. And now I have all these other films lined up. I've got like 6, 7 other films for 2026. And it's exciting. I love it. And, and people are saying, oh, you can't do that at your age. Yeah, watch me, It's like.
So what's the difference between you and say like a lady who's now on a menopause and just feeling like the end of the world? What's the difference between you and her?
Well, I guess what I do differently is, number one, I live my truth. Like everything that I preach on my pages, in my book, I live that. I mean, any of my friends, you would speak to, oh, well, you are my friend. We've been friends for over 10 years. But anyone that knows me knows that I practice what I preach. So for me, top priority is my health, my sleep, connecting with nature, being outside, being grounded, catching the first sunrise, which is super important. People don't realize this, but when you catch the sunrise without sunglasses in the morning, This is what helps you make melatonin at night so you can sleep well in the evening. I mean, this is huge. And people never talk about this. And when you're in menopause, the most common complaint I get from people is that I can't sleep. And
That's very true.
it's very true. And if you can't sleep, your body's not regenerating, you're not healing, you're going to be cranky, miserable the next day. Of course, you're going to start aging much more quickly because your skin needs to regenerate. Everything needs to regenerate. So sleep is crucial. And while we're talking about sleep, let's talk about blue light exposure at night, which is disrupting our sleep like nothing else. So, in my house at night, I don't use the overhead lights. I only have red lights, red bulbs that I use, or it's complete darkness if we watch TV or if I'm alone.
Do any men come knocking on the door?
Yeah, I know. We always say that. The neighbors must be thinking like this is some red
Oh,
light.
men like binoculars.
Going on.
Excuse me, love.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. 100%. So, if we're watching TV or if I'm on my screen, I've got my blue blockers on to make sure that I'm not getting the blue light exposure. Because what's happening with blue light at night, it's actually sending the signal to your brain that it's like high noon, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, right? And of course, you're doom scrolling and you're watching all the bad news and all the horrible things that are happening in the world and everything. Yeah. And then you say, okay, well, time to go to sleep. And then you put down your phone next to your head, of course, as you do. And then you try to sleep and you can't. And you don't understand what's going on. So when you're not sleeping, all your menopausal symptoms will be much, much worse. Your hot flashes, your cortisol will be high, your anxiety will be high, you'll be aging much more quickly. So sleep is like the number one thing that everybody needs to master.
Wow, sleep is number one. Could I ask you, if you were, I'm sure you've written it in the book, but what time would you recommend going to bed? What time should you be in that bed no matter what?
10 p.m. is the latest. Absolute latest.
I'm between 8, no later than 9 now, and I've noticed a massive difference. And I've done some research on it, and apparently at 10:30 something happens. And if you are not asleep at 10:30, something in your have you heard of this?
Yes, of course. There's your body clock, and then different organs are detoxifying at different times throughout the night. So that's why it's crucial. Like 10 o'clock is the absolute latest. But of course, if you can do it like 8, 9 p.m., even better. And then you can be up for the sunrise, which is, the most important time of the day, to be up for the sunrise. And also, sorry, go ahead.
Also attached to that is eating pattern. So as a personal recommendation, I want everybody to know, if you want to sleep well, don't eat at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. I stop eating 90% of the time. I stop eating at 2 o'clock. Mm-hmm. So I have my last meal at 2, and I've noticed I can sleep lovely, and your body is so thankful.
Absolutely. It's great advice, Mark. It's exactly what I do and what I recommend in my book. You need to stop eating at least 3 or 4 hours before you go to bed. You should never eat after it's dark, because your body, once it's dark outside, your body is gearing down to produce melatonin to go to sleep. Your digestive system stops. So basically anything that you're eating at night, your body starts storing as fat. And even for people that are doing a keto or carnivore diet and low carb diet, and they're not eating any carbs, your blood sugar will be so high as if you're a diabetic. So wow. It's really crazy what happens to your body. Wow. Also, when you have your meal or your last meal, first meal, whatever, it's really good to take like a 10-minute walk, because it helps to get the sugar into your muscles rather than into storage. So even a 10-minute walk after a meal can make a big difference. Yeah. If you can have any of your meals outdoors, your body processes those meals much more efficiently. They've proven this. Yeah. And another really cool thing, because a lot of women struggle with weight gain and, the meno belly that everyone complains about. First of all, another different way to look at the meno belly.
Sorry, what's a meno
belly, your menopause belly? Everyone gets a little pooch, a little bit of a belly. So even people that had like 6 packs, they end up with a bit of a belly.
Cupcake bellies or something like that.
That's a muffin top. So this is a little belly in the front. And actually this becomes like a little hormone factory. So it's not really a bad thing. Obviously, if you're putting on a lot of weight, that's not good. But a little meno belly is okay. And it actually has benefits. And they've proven that women who have liposuction or lose a lot of weight and they lose that meno belly, that little extra layer of fat there, actually have worse symptoms with menopause. So,
What kind of
things
worse,
happen for a reason.
what kind of worse symptoms?
Well, some of the more common symptoms of menopause, the thing that most people complain about are hot flashes, that kind of come out of the blue and you're just sweating like crazy because your
I don't
temperature.
know, but I've heard this before, that all of a sudden they get hot flashes. In fact, I have a client who just sent me a message and a while ago, and I don't do this kind of work, but let me just give you an idea of what they've said. They're just going into the same phases, what's called menopause, and they've said, I'm 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 experiencing lots of symptoms I could live without. I have the worst one is anxiety.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
you imagine?
Yeah.
Anxiety.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
it
Very, very common.
comes from nowhere with
Yeah.
no warning, which leaves me feeling nervous. Next, she said, no sleep. I get about 3 to 4 hours every night at the most, leaving me exhausted, losing hair
Yeah.
more than usual. But she said here she's been trying uh, biotin. Is that B7?
Biotin. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Is that
Yeah.
B7?
It's I think it's B6.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was bees. Like, I'm not very good with bees and stuff, but okay, that has helped a little. Is there anything I can do with healing work?
Yeah.
That's just gives you an idea of the women contacting me that I have no idea of
Yeah.
how to help in a physical way, but you can. So does any of that make any sense to you?
Oh yeah, this is so common, Mark. This is, I hear this every single day from women, and
What
but
would you say to that then, if you don't
well,
mind me asking?
the first thing is, anxiety, sleeplessness, all of these things. A lot of times they come from spikes in cortisol. So your stress levels are too high. The first thing is and also inflammation. Well, we'll talk about inflammation next. So for anxiety, for not being able to sleep, and a lot of people are drinking coffee all day long. They're drinking coffee, they're drinking Coke, other caffeinated beverages. These will make all your symptoms so much worse. So it's really important to get off the caffeine. When I got off the caffeine, it was the best thing that I ever did for my health. And anyone I get off of it, I mean, caffeine is a poison. Coffee is a poison. So the caffeine bean produces caffeine. It's a pesticide in order to kill the invaders, right? To kill the pests. And now we're feeding this into our bodies, and it's like, obviously our nervous system is going to respond to this, and we're going to have a nervous reaction. We're going to have high anxiety. We won't be able to sleep. So coffee is a no-no during menopause.
And also, if you think, oh well, I'm on decaf, just so you know, it's worse.
Yeah.
Decaf is worse because of the process of the decaf.
There is an alternative though, because they have it's called Swiss water decaf, where they use this water to remove the caffeine from the coffee. So it's a gentle water process. And they actually, if you buy the capsules, they use like capsules made out of cornstarch, not out of aluminum, or as you guys say in the UK, aluminium, right?
So true.
So there are safer options for if you want to drink decaffeinated coffee. And I think it's Blue Goose that makes it. It's quite nice. So that is a better option. But, a lot of things have caffeine that we don't pay attention to, right? A lot of people are drinking soft drinks and iced tea, and tea has a lot of caffeine as well. So get rid of caffeine. That will make a big difference.
Sugar as well,
Optimize
right?
sugar. Yeah, absolutely. Don't even get me started with sugar. But yeah, absolutely. Sugar is a huge issue. Another thing that I see a lot of people do is, especially you start gaining weight and you're not feeling well, and people start over exercising. And when they're over exercising, they're running, they're doing a lot of heavy duty cardio, long form cardio. And again, your cortisol is spiking. And when your cortisol spikes, it's signaling to your brain, start storing fat. So,
funny that, because if you Google it, it tells you to do heavy lifting. It tells you to do a lot of exercise. So that's interesting.
Yeah,
So
but there's a big difference between heavy lifting, because I'm a huge proponent of heavy lifting, weight training all the way, because muscle is your superpower when you get into menopause.
Explain to us then what the difference is then, please.
Okay, so basically when you're doing cardio, it's fine to do like short bursts of cardio, and don't confuse this with walking, because I really recommend walking. I mean, walking as much as you want, it's not a problem, because you're not getting your heart rate up so fast. So if you do want to get your heart rate up, do it like in sprints, like do a quick sprint, run for 20 seconds and then stop. That's a wonderful way to do it. But weight training, this is your superpower over 50. When you start building muscle, and you also need to feed your body lots of protein, and then you weight training, and your muscles will keep your body strong. They also burn more calories at rest. Like, muscle is metabolically active. So even if you're sitting around doing nothing, it's much more active than fat. So it's actually burning a lot more calories, and it's going to keep your whole skeleton strong. It'll keep your posture straight, which, there's nothing more aging as you get older than a hunched over back. And to keep your bones strong, a lot of jumping, things like that. But I would not recommend like running marathons and running as a form of exercise. And a lot of people do that because they think the more I run, the more weight I lose. But
I've got a dear friend who goes running for miles, and she thinks this is really good for her.
Yeah. Well, there have been studies that show that if you're using running for weight loss, you always have to run more and more and more to maintain that same weight, because your body kind of gets used to it. So it's not as effective anymore. So really, weight training is as good as you're going to get.
Yeah, I mean, we are talking about how to, bring the symptoms down of menopause. So when we're talking about running for miles and miles and miles, if you want to heal from, you heal better and easier, and it doesn't affect you more menopause, then you're saying, don't be over exerting yourself. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. And you need rest, and rest is also okay. Like, a lot of women are, working and then running around. Well, look at my life too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But so you don't want to overexert. And meditation is really important. Fantastic. Slowing down is really important. Taking rest and breathing, unplugging, and just sitting in silence. Like, when was the last time you just sat in silence for 5 minutes, not
20
scrolling
minutes,
on your phone?
30 minutes ago.
Yeah. Well, you're
30
good
minutes ago, out there in the sun, I sat there in silence, and I realized the reason why I get stressed a lot is because I don't give myself an opportunity to sit down, because I've been brought up with a dad that said to me, "You're a lazy bum. Get up, work hard," which I always did, but he always pushed it into me. He drilled it into me. You've got to get up every day and work. You've got to get up every day and work. You've got to get up, or you're a lazy ass. You're a lazy bum, right? And eventually that's going to stick. So what I don't do is I don't allow myself the necessary the necessary importance of a little bit of time out, because, oh, you're a lazy bum, you shouldn't be doing that. The guilt that comes over you because of the pre-program that he passed on to me. So whenever I see my children just resting and taking it easy, I'm like, cool, they've broken the mold. They've broken the mold.
Yeah, no, it's really important. I mean, even when we're lining up somewhere to, I don't know, waiting for a bus or whatever, you can't just stand there in silence. Like, we have to get out the phone and start scrolling or do something, right? Because otherwise you feel like, I don't know. It's just a weird feeling. We're so used to constantly being stimulated.
The brain. It's the brain. It doesn't want you to stop. There's no full stop. It's keep going, keep going.
Yeah. And it's not good. It's definitely not good for us. And high cortisol is not good. And inflammation is not good. Having inflammation in your body is going to cause other issues as well. And this is why, like, I love grounding. And grounding, earthing, when you take your shoes off and you stand on the barefoot and you're grounded to the earth, or in the seas, or walking on the sand on the beach, or even just hugging a tree. Because a lot of people say, well, how can I do any kind of grounding when I'm in Sweden or wherever, right, in winter? Well, you can. You just need to touch a tree. It's so simple. And what happens is your body is instantly flooded with these negative ions, which bring down the inflammation. And you can see this instantly. Like they were able to measure this. And even if you're on your cell phone, but you're barefoot, it's like you have this protective layer around you that is protecting you from the radiation. So nature has so many of the answers that we are looking for. And it's not something you need to do for hours every day. You can go just for a few minutes, and it makes such a huge difference.
Brilliant. So, ladies, any ladies out there, if you're going to leave your husband, leave him for a tree.
Yeah, exactly. You had a favorite tree, didn't you, Mark? I remember you
Still
used to
got
have
her.
it.
Still got her. She's
Yeah,
she's 200 meters. I mean, I tell you, two women have left me because of her,
because of your tree.
because of my darling Oliva tree. She's an olive tree. She's beautiful.
Not far from Mijas, right?
Just where I am now, if I
Yeah.
walk 7 minutes,
Oh wow.
she's on the main road, and the town hall made sure that they wouldn't take her down because she's well over 500 years old. So
Wow.
they worked around her. So now there's a big placard next to her saying this is one of our oldest trees in the village. Well, I used to sit by her when I was a full-time healer, and I still do to this day. I still walk on to this day.
That's amazing. And but when you go out there, you slather yourself with toxic sunscreen from head to toe, right?
I was just
No.
thinking, the really sad part about it is I was listening to somebody talking on social media, and she's a nurse, and somebody'd come for a mammogram, and apparently that she'd got something inside. They were telling her, you've got this inside you, and I'm afraid it looks like you could have this and that. And the nurse was saying online, saying to the lady, like explaining to the lady, you do you use underarm deodorant? Like, this is a nurse talking to a
Yeah,
patient.
right.
I'm like, you could lose your job, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
any kind of products that you rub on your skin, I mean, we have to be careful on here because this is only entertainment purposes only. By the way, this is just entertainment. This is satire.
Yeah,
It's just a joke, folks.
exactly. It's crazy that you have to say that. But,
Mm,
speaking of which, vitamin D is really, really important. And for hormone production, for preventing cancer, for everything. And the
mhm,
best way to get vitamin D is from the sun.
mhm,
And what are we doing? We're blocking it with sunglasses. We're blocking our skin with, this toxic sunscreen that is interacting very badly with the sun. And of course, everyone's low in vitamin D. People are developing cancer at a record rate. And this is also making all the menopausal symptoms so much worse. And it's so easily solved. And people often misunderstand me. And I'm never saying that you need to go out into the sun and, bake yourself to a
Yeah,
crisp.
but that's
That's
the
not,
problem. Everybody's got 1 week, two if they're lucky. I've got to be out there. I've only got a few days left. Give it to me. It's
yeah,
difficult. When you live in it, it's no problem. But when you've only got 2 weeks, this is such,
I know.
what can I
But
say?
there is smart sun exposure, and you need to really build your sun callus, and you need to expose yourself slowly to sun. But
Exactly.
before that, let me talk to you guys about. Um, so first of all, there's the sunrise, right? Which I want you guys to go out there and see the sunrise every morning. That is so important. But the next magical moment happens during UVA rise, and this happens approximately 1 hour after sunrise. And you can download an app called My Circadian app, which will show you exactly when sunrise is in your region, when you have UVA rise. And during UVA rise, if you go out and you have breakfast during this time, or you go for your walk during this time, this is the most healing period. And what I learned in quantum biology, for people that are chronically ill, this is the time you want to spend outdoors as much as you can, with as much of your skin exposed as you can, because this is just pure healing frequencies from the sun. There's no UVB present, so you cannot burn. So you don't need to be worried about burning or protection or anything like that. But this time of the day, like people who went for a walk during this time of the day burned a lot more calories and ended up losing a lot more weight than the control group. even if
Brilliant.
they weren't dieting or paying attention to what they were eating, just simply walking during UVA
So
rise.
roughly what kind of time is that for the
So, for
person?
example, right now I can look at my app and tell
10
you.
till 11 o'clock
So, for example, let me
or
just.
9 till 11?
No, I think it's a little bit longer period right now.
Okay.
I'll show you guys what it looks
Really
like
interesting.
because it's really cool. I use this app all the time. So it shows, I don't know if you guys can see it. It's probably difficult to see, but anyway, let me tell you. So it's
Mm.
sunrise for us right now. It's pretty much the same for you and me, Mark. So it's sunrise is at 8:05.
Yeah.
And then UVA, we have UVA from 9:06 to 11:37. So it's quite a long period. And then what UVB, this also tells you UVB is between 11:37 and 14:36. So this is when you can make vitamin D. So for us, we can still make vitamin D because of our latitude. But it's just a very short window that we have right now. So ideally, you would wake up in the morning, you would catch the sunrise. And then during UVA rise, you would go and have your breakfast outside, maybe have a nice walk, do your meditation, do as many things as you can outdoors. Then, and also what happens during UVA rise is that this will prepare your skin for tanning later. So during UVB, you want to go out there 10 minutes, 20 minutes. You don't need to be out there for hours, and then seek some shade, especially if it's, strong sunlight. And depending on your skin color. So obviously, if you're whiter, then you have to be more careful. If you have more melanin in your skin, you can be out there longer. And then afterwards, in the evening, there's a lot more infrared light in the sun, which is soothing and healing to the skin. So what happens if you were exposed to UVB, which is a harsher light and that's tanning your skin, then this red light comes in that's actually healing your skin. So this is why we need to be exposed to all the different frequencies of the sun, not just go out during high noon and burn to a crisp and then say, oh my God, the sun is bad. It's burning me, it's causing cancer, all of this crap, right? So, I mean, you have to use nature intelligently because it's intelligent. It has all the solutions.
Yeah, it is. And some of the ancient secrets that I learned over the years, one thing is if you're into sun gazing, if
Mhm.
you look at the sea and you look at where the sea hits the sky,
The horizon, yeah.
yeah, you just take your fist and put your fist on the horizon, and when the sun goes up past your fist, that's when you should stop looking at the sun.
Yes.
And the same when you sun gaze and the sun goes down, you do the same thing. Soon as the sun hits you there, you can sun gaze all the way till it goes down. These are ancient teachings, but all of these things are fantastic. That what you're showing in an app is, I guess, more, I don't know, more specific, right?
Yeah, for people who need help. And sometimes it's cloudy and you can't see the sun, but you still want to look towards the sun. Or for example, I'm in Gibraltar and we've got this big rock, the big mountain, and the sun rises on the east side, which is on the other side from me. So in the morning, I don't see the sun until about 10 a.m. But I
Right.
still get up at the, at the as soon as it's like daylight, and I look towards the east. So even if you can't physically see the sun, you need to look towards the east and you're still getting those frequencies through your eyes.
Right. Right.
And your
Absolutely.
retina has UV receptors. I mean, it has it for a reason.
Yeah.
Your breasts have UV receptors because you need to expose your breasts to the sun, and it's a
I,
great.
I struggle with exposing my breasts to the sun, and I
No,
keep
but it's a
saying
great
that.
way to
I
prevent
don't.
breast cancer. But did you know that if you expose your testicles to the sun, you can increase your testosterone?
Let's not talk about bum neither. Bum tanning.
I
Uh,
know people do that. That's a little bit crazy, but I mean
well,
these do help.
whatever rocks your boat, so to speak. But it's very, very interesting, all of these things. But yeah, absolutely. So yeah, all of those things sound amazing. One thing I wanted to ask you as well. When did it all start for you, Lynn? When did all this start?
Well, I
When did you recognize everything that, like, have you ever watched those movies where they're sat with a psychiatrist and the psychiatrist writes things down or says something to them and you've got to answer them? Have you ever seen them things, right?
yeah.
So, so if I was to ask you, everything in the world is a What would you
Everything in
say?
the world is no. I don't know what
If
you
I
mean.
say to you everything in the world and you've got to answer everything in the world is, what would you say? Like I would have
Everything
thought you would have said a lie.
a lie.
Right.
Oh, well,
What I'm
yes.
trying what I'm trying
I understand.
what
Now I
I'm trying
understand what you're saying.
what I'm
Yeah,
trying to
basically,
ask you
I
is,
understand what you're saying.
when
But
did you realize that everything that you were told
yeah,
is like, I'm
is
not
a
so
lie.
sure where I believe this? And was there ever a point where it was not like a wake up moment, but was it a slow process, or did you know there was something wrong, or was there a moment when you figured it out?
I was very young, when I was already skeptical and a so-called conspiracy theorist. We've been at it for a very long time with my husband, and we question everything. And of course, your belief system changes throughout the years. So whatever I believed to be true 20 years ago, I might not believe it now. So we're always learning, evolving, changing, and I think that's a good thing. But basically, I think whatever the medical establishment tells you, or whatever mainstream media tells you, or whatever whoever you're following tells you to do, if you do the opposite, you'll probably be just fine. I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's the biggest takeaway, the biggest lesson here. And for most women, like before menopause, we have perimenopause, and that starts about 10 years before. And that
When
can also,
what date is that? What kind of like age is that then?
so the average age for menopause is 50, 52 years old. So
Okay.
around in early 40s, it starts for most women. They start with the symptoms, and this can already be like 10 years of hell. So these
Wow.
things need to be addressed early. And of course, the healthier your lifestyle, the smoother this transition will be. But really, the way I try to look at it, so you're having symptoms, you're not feeling well. The first thing I want you to look at is your lifestyle, and change your lifestyle. Like these things that I said with the sun, with nature, change your environment. So change your environment in your home, the lighting. I mean, we are light beings, so everything is affected by the light around us. This is crucial, and people have to realize this, because it all starts with light. And before, I was always about just diet and exercise. If diet and exercise is not working, then you're not dieting and you're not exercising hard enough. That's BS. That's not true. You need to fix your environment. And until you fix that, diet and exercise is not enough. That will not work. So this,
There's also that you have to put a disclaimer in that. Oh, sorry, you have to add to that a little bit also, because many people are used to the word diet.
mhm.
So majority of people say, "Well, how long do I have to do that for?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
When
No,
you're
I mean
saying
nutrition, nourishing your body through food.
what
So
I'm
we,
saying is that your life has to, it's not, there isn't an end goal. It's when you actually say you have to change your lifestyle, you
yes,
mean for good,
absolutely.
forever,
Of course.
forever. But
Yes.
people don't get that because they're so used to, well, is it a 14? Is it 5 days? Is it 7 days I need to take these for? So it's
Because
so
everybody
important.
everybody wants a quick fix. There is no quick fix. There is no magic pill that you can pop and then it's all gone and you're feeling better. That's not going to happen. But
Right,
but this is why your environment is number one. You need to
right.
fix your environment, and then clean up what you're eating. Stay away from the processed foods, from sugar, from caffeine, from alcohol. At least the obvious stuff, the ultra processed foods, the crap, right? Try to eat like how your grandparents used to eat. Try to eat as wholesome as possible, and exercise, build muscle. Walk and build muscle. That's all you need to do. And don't worry about weights or going to a gym. You can just do body weight exercises. You can do push-ups, you can do squats, you can do lunges. There are so many things you can do with just your own body
You've
weight.
seen the adverts on, no point going to the gym when you're past 40, it doesn't work. Tai Chi. It's all over the
I,
place.
yeah, I have seen.
All AI
Yeah,
generated.
yeah, I've seen that.
Like,
Okay, Tai Chi is great, and
it
yoga
is.
is great, and
It is.
stretching exercise. All of those are
Yeah,
wonderful.
it
Don't
is.
overdo it. Leave time to relax. If lifestyle changes and nutrition and all of these things are still not enough, then we want to look into supplements. And the book covers this. There are lots of supplements, teas, different things that you can try for different things to address during menopause. This is the next step. Then people, I can see the comments here, and people were asking about bioidentical hormones. And these are hormones that you would take that are completely identical to what your body produces. And this is a safe option. A lot of people do go this route. Some people are not a fan. Some people it works amazingly for. So this is another option. If you've tried these things and it's not enough, then there are bioidentical hormones. There you go, Mark. And then, of course, there's HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy, which was demonized for decades. And women were told they cannot do hormone replacement therapy because it causes cancer. And this was just recently reversed by the FDA. And they are actually saying that there are a lot more benefits to hormone replacement therapy than they ever acknowledged.
Well, that would worry me straight away then.
Yeah, I know. But until now, the FDA has been saying that it causes cancer. So what sense do you make of this? But at the same time, a lot of women swear by it, that it gives them their quality of life back.
Fair enough.
And they feel amazing on it. So it's really a personal choice, and it's not something that I would ever influence anyone to say one way or another that this is right for you, not right for you, because we don't know what the other person is going through. And if you're suffering to that extreme, of course, you're going to look for help in any way that you can. For someone like my mother, who never took any kind of BHRT or HRT or anything, and she's 75 and we walk the Camino de Santiago together, and she looks and feels amazing, then does she need to do anything? No. Does she need to supplement anything? No. She's supplementing with nature. She's out walking every day. She does like 20,000 steps a day. She's getting lots of sunshine, no sunglasses, no sunscreen ever, and she looks amazing. So for someone like that who is getting all the medicine from where we're meant to get it, maybe you don't need to supplement with anything else. For other people, it's a lifesaver. So it really is a personal choice.
Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Well, we've been almost an hour. I think we've probably kept you long enough, Lynn. It's been amazing. I would like to just tell everybody, all you lovely gentlemen, if you want to buy this for Christmas for your wives, or even read it for yourself to understand what your wives are going through, that might be a wonderful thing. I think for you guys, as a man, I can honestly say this to you as hand on heart. When our wives feel bad and awful, we instantly look at ourselves as if we've done something wrong. We get angry then with our wives because it's a kind of reverse thing. So it does happen to us. Just try your best not to react, and realize that it isn't you who's causing any pain towards your wife. There's nothing you can do. You can't bend down as a child and fix the broken bike as you used to do, or the little tank that you used to work on. There is no fixing this. There's only just understanding, being more kind and caring and loving and listening and working through it and helping them. Just a caring ear. It's not easy, but we have to break our program, guys. So 30 days, natural menopause reset by Dr. Lynn Hardy, ND. So, Lynn, it's been absolutely a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And it was my absolute pleasure. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye. Take care, everyone.
Everybody.